Hi, y'all. It's Brigitte Cutshall with Real Things Living. Today, my guest is Jeff Burningham. He is a tech entrepreneur and the author of The Last Book Written by a Human. Can you say hey, Jeff?
Hey, Bridget, good to be with you.
Thank you so much for being on this podcast. I love talking to authors, and your book has a definitely hook title. Be definitely interested in learning more about it. And it is something that I fear everybody talks about now because there's so much information out there. And my understanding, I got a copy of your book. I didn't read all of it yet, but I'm over halfway through. But my takeaway so far is that you need to learn how to still be a human, right?
Yeah,
And then how to deal with it. And you have to use your wisdom. And
yeah,
where did you get this idea, first off, just about this?
yeah, man, that's a great question and a big question because I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've started and sold several businesses in technology and in real estate, was an investor, lost my mind in 2020 and ran for governor in the state of Utah. Actually, 2019 decided, ran in 2020, lost during the pandemic. So it feels like I've lived a couple lives in my career, and I would have never thought that I would be an author. So it really came out of time and space. I'm a university and adjunct professor of entrepreneurship at BYU, which is down the street from me here in Provo, Utah. I've taught thousands of entrepreneurial students. And I often say that with time and space, anything can be created. And that was something that honestly, I got married when I was 23. I have four children. I've been a spiritual leader in my church or faith tradition. I was building all these companies. I had become this human doing. And could honestly say my entire adult life, I had no time and space until the summer of 2020. And so that's really where the journey got serious about writing. After losing the governor's race, I dove back into the venture capital work that I had been so fond of. I started the first institutional venture capital fund along the Silicon Slopes, which is the high growing, fast growing tech corridor here in Utah. And I dove into that, caught up on a bunch of technology that had happened the past 18 months and when I was running for governor. And the one that stuck out to me was AI. And I've consequently, probably invested in 12 or 15 AI startups. But what interested me the most was the impact I felt like this was going to have on humanity, the spiritual impact on humanity, and the potential for obviously destruction and harm, which is there, but also for good. So that's a short story of I never planned on being a writer. I really felt compelled to write this book. I felt like I had to. To be honest with you, I bargained with God or the universe for several years saying, wrong guy, I'm not going to write this. And then I said, okay, I'll write it, but I won't tell anyone about it. And then I said, okay, fine, I'll write it. And I'll try to tell some people about it and see if it can do a little good in the world. So it's been a process.
I like that. I think you subconsciously you brought out you have more knowledge. We all have a lot more knowledge than we realize to share with the world. I think with your tech background, and you also, my understanding when I read the book, you were a bishop at one point, correct?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you're dealing spiritually with people as well. So you just have to get over that, and you did. We all talk down to ourselves. So in a way, right, and you got out of it. And I think a lot of people they want to do a book, but do they really? And you found a way to do it, Jeff.
Yeah. Well, it's not easy, as you well know, as an author yourself. Like, it's a transformative process. I really view this little book for me as a little piece of art, my kind of offering to the divine, my whole self, my best self. I hope you could here in the book, this isn't a puff piece. This isn't about, oh, I've done all these great things and look how good I am and here's what I've learned. I'm going to tell you about it. If anything, I look at my flaws, my shortcomings, my own, like I said, kind of heroic journey. I overlay the story of AI onto that. And then I think humanity at large's story as well. So this is the best I could do right now. I poured my heart and soul into it. It's definitely not been easy, as you know, but it's been glorious too. It's been a great experience and one that I feel fortunate to have had.
Well, I like the way you wrote it because it sounds like you're having a conversation with me, with the
Good.
reader. And at the end of each chapter, you ask a question.
Yeah.
I like how that is just woven in there because, like you said, it's not a one fit all. It's not a solution to everything. It's not a quick fix, right?
Yeah.
Life is not a quick fix. Life
No.
is very messy.
Yeah.
So each of us have a different experience with life, and I like how you're putting in there the perspective. And I remember you mentioned the old game and the new game in life, right?
Yeah. 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 Well, number one, thank you. I'm glad it felt conversational, which you know is not easy. In this book, I cover some big topics like the nature of existence, God in the universe, AI in our future. So to speak simplistically about these ideas was not easy. So I'm glad that you felt like it was a conversation. Yeah, I think that I talk about it in the book as a cosmic mirror to humanity. If you think about what AI is, at least right now in 2025, it's just a mirror of all the data and human experience it can ingest, and then it reflects back to us based on how we prompt it and use it what we are. And so I see AI as this cosmic mirror that gives us an opportunity for reflection. You know, when we look in the mirror, we're not always able. I'm 48 years old. So sometimes I look in the mirror and I'm surprised at what I see. Like, wow, I guess I'm getting a little bit older here. I can't determine necessarily what the mirror reflects, just like we can't with AI. AI is a reflection of us, and then we get to decide what we do with that reflection. And I think we've been playing an old game, like you spoke about, one where, you know, cash was the currency, power was the motivator, and control was maybe the reason. This is an old game, an old paradigm that I think we can see and feel and sense inside our body, in the culture. This game is crescendoing. And if we continue to double and triple down on what I call this old game of division, hate, and greed, when you add the power of AI technology onto that, I don't think that is a good leads to a good outcome for any of us. So I propose, like you said, a new game. This is a new game for us to play together. And I think it's a more true and authentic game where karma is the currency, not cash, where authenticity is the motivation, not power, and where love is the reason, not control. And I think we can apply that both as individuals, you and I individually, and we can also apply it to our institutions. And I talk about that at the end of the book. I talk about reforming religion. I talk about conscious capitalism. And then I talk about what I call a vote for humanity, but basically some governmental reform that I think will be critical in the age of highly intelligent machines.
That's true. And you had mentioned the reflection and about the good and ugly. And you mentioned a little bit about what is you think coming out of the good aspect of AI, the good reflection, and then go and the next will be what the bad, or you can do it reverse if you want.
Well, maybe I'll start with the bad because,
Yeah.
um, you know, it's funny. I've done 20 or 30 podcasts here this week, and one of the questions I'm often asked is, can't we just pull the plug or not do this? Well, and wouldn't that be the best thing? And the honest answer is pull the plug on AI. Maybe that would be the best thing, but that's not what's going to happen. Like, that's not realistic. That's not how we evolve. That's not how technology goes. even if the good actors, quote unquote, whatever those are in the world pulled back, you would still have bad actors pushing forward. And so we have to go forward. This is the cycle of life, and we have to do it. And so we must do so, though, with wisdom. The one sentence thesis of the book, I think, would be, as our machines become more intelligent, our work as humans is to become more wise. And the way that I think we do that is through, there are different sections in the book. They mirror the technology growth cycle that I've seen thousands of times as an entrepreneur in hundreds of startup companies. I've seen this, but this is a pattern of disruption, reflection, transformation, and evolution, like you said. And so this reflective aspect of AI is a powerful one for us, and I hope we can lean into the best of humanity. I think that our first indication of that, kind of the baby AI of social media, has not been a good test case or use case for us. Yeah, like I'm a father of 4. My children are ages 23 to 13. Social media has not been a good first experiment with the almighty algorithm, with AI. And that's just the beginning. But I think we can learn a lot of things from that. And I think we can get better. That's kind of been the bad aspect of it, is I think it feeds division. I think it's kind of a race to the bottom, let's say, of human nature. When in reality, the upside, finishing your question, the upside for AI is unbelievable. Think of the leveling of educational opportunities throughout the world. I'm not just talking about the United States, although that's true. Throughout the world, the potential to have the smartest, quote unquote, teacher, the most intelligent teacher that doesn't forget everything, that knows or remembers everything in your pocket, that could be amazingly powerful for students around the world. Think of the patterns in complex, massive data sets that are able to be absorbed and understood with AI that can provide, cures to cancer or other health concerns that humans have struggled with forever. I mean, there's massive potential upside, but in order to get to that upside, I think we as humans need to feed this technology with consciousness and love. Otherwise, it's going to feed back to us more division and hate, which will, I'm afraid to say, lead to more destruction, I'm afraid. And that's not the outcome we want.
No.
For our children and grandchildren. That's not what any of us want.
We want to use it ethically, right?
Yes.
And with good conscience. And as you're talking about it, I like the idea of using it in the medical field to help, because I've had cancer 3 times, right? So some of this stuff, it's hard for those technicians or in the lab to help determine, what something is. And I think AI could help do it a little faster.
Correct.
Find it sooner. That's how I look at it. I'm not afraid of it. I don't know what can happen with it, but I always joke that my positive perspective is a quiet rebellion. That's kind of how I'm built for some reason.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think I just makes you feel a little bit better rather than be stressed out. And I think it's okay to, look at the good in something, acknowledge the bad, obviously first, but you have to, how can we do this ethically? I look at it as ethics too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're a master at this. I'm sorry to hear about your health challenges. My heart goes out to you, but the only constant is change.
Yes.
We can fight against that. We can push against that. We can do this with AI as well. We can ignore it, put our heads in the sand, but that isn't the right way to do this. The way I talk about in the book, kind of becoming a human doing. I talk about climbing my little mountain of success, getting to the top of the mountain. And guess what? There's nothing different up there. I think I say in the book, there's a cold, howling wind. It's only void. There's nowhere to go but back down, picking up the pieces of somewhat tattered life from climbing to the top, and to return to our being, to look inside. You've looked outside yourself everywhere for every answer, for every whatever. There's then there's only one place to go, which is inside ourselves. So as AI becomes more and more efficient and better than us at doing a lot of what we're used to doing on a daily basis, what are we left with, Bridget? We're left with our being.
Mhm.
We're left with the power of being, of bringing presence and awareness to everything that we do, including the development and use of AI. I think that AI is a call for us to rehumanize, to remember who we really are, what reality actually is, and to lean into that tough work that we have to do individually and as a collective society.
That's true. I agree with you on that. It is something that, like I mentioned earlier, embracing that, and I understand it's not going away. I'm not going to ignore it. I don't want it to. I think if you ignore it, it could affect you negatively. And
Yeah.
that's why you need to understand it. There's so many apps out there now. And now I would rather, like, I have a complaint about something, I would rather talk to a human, right? I
Yeah.
just say
Yeah,
complaint.
for sure.
But because they're going to understand, there's no, AI doesn't really have the emotion. They don't,
Yeah.
that, see, I just said they, sorry. It's what I meant.
Well, I mean, that's what's hard. Like human relationship is something that's critical. A lot of our wisdom comes from messy relationship. And if we just have this hyper efficient relationship with, like you said, AI chatbot, that could be easier. It always takes your side. Oh, Jeff, you look so great today, and you're the best. You're so smart, and but you know all the things it says. Well, that's nice, kind of, but it's not real. And what is real is messy human relationship. And so one of the aspects of the book that I lean into, again, it's near the end, but is this idea of human relationship and how we must stay in contact. We must choose to be with each other. We must choose to lean into the messiness that makes existence beautiful. And it's a call to human relationship, to in real life experiences, to remember our humanity, go back to our humanity, and then bring that wisdom to the use of AI and other technology in smart ways.
It kind of is in line with what my podcast is, Real Things Living, because it
That's
is
right.
these real experiences, and it's about living, and things aren't, it's the experiences that you have with another human. It's your memories. That's kind of why I've always like to do exploring with my sons, when they're, and we just prefer that kind of stuff rather than giving them stuff. That's why I
Yeah.
call it things.
Yeah.
And it's true. We just need to, life is messy. You're not perfect, and it's okay. And that's why, we just need to keep moving forward. And I like the how you said change is constant, because that is how life has always been. It's always evolving. Different things are there. I don't know if evolving is the right word, but it's an evolution, really, what we're going through,
Yes.
and it kind of is in line with your new game thing.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was thinking of, could you use it to help develop your daily life a little bit? I use a Apple Watch all the time
Hmm.
because I am a runner, and I remind myself, not me, my watch tells me, Bridget, you need to go stand up. You need to go get your
Get your
walking.
steps in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. And isn't that, but I've always been a mover. I've always been into that. But it's funny because of a lot of our jobs here, we are sitting and we are sedentary.
Yeah.
And that's the good side of it. Another aspect is a reminder, and You just want to be a good role model for the other humans. Help them.
Yeah, and in as much as AI can prompt us in those good things, I think it's fantastic. In the book, I talk about the three universal teachers that each of us have. They are our families. We all have a family. Some are wonderful, some are not so wonderful. It really doesn't matter your background, except to say that your family, its own unique wounding that was passed on to you, isn't in the way, it is the way. So, this human relationship is critical. The second one or the third one I talk about is nature. Nature is showing us patterns all the time of what existence really is. And the third, which is where I was going with your comment, is the body. We underestimate the wisdom found in our own human bodies. And for the time being, AI is not embodied. It does not have emotions. It does not know what it really feels like to lose something dear to us, to love in the way that we can love, to connect with other human beings in real intimate personal ways. It doesn't know that. And that our bodies contain so much wisdom. So in as much as we can take care of them, we can get into our bodies, we can do flow activities. I love to wake surf and mountain bike and snow ski. One of the reasons I love to do those things is because they're out in nature. But the second thing is it that like my mind kind of goes blank. The chatter in my head has to go a little quiet. I'm able to just sit in myself, in my body, and remember the beauty of being human and what it means to be human, and why, despite all our heartache and hardship, why I love it and why it matters to us. And so those are the three universal teachers that I think we can return to time and time again that will help us rehumanize, help us remember the reality of our existence and who we really are, and help us inform the wise use and development of AI in the decades to come.
I like that. I remember reading that in the book, especially then all three resonated, but especially the nature part, that we're part of it. We can't ignore it. And I think hopefully maybe AI might help us do a better job as humans taking care of nature. Maybe, right?
That's another way that AI could potentially help us with climate change and other critical issues that we've been facing for some time now. What's scary about AI and our digital devices, they can often take us away from nature. They
Yes.
take us away from being present in nature and feeling the magic that is there, feeling the consciousness, the existence. I start the book, you might recall, on the Varanasi River in India,
Yeah.
or sorry, in the Ganges River in Varanasi, India. And I talk about how life is this continuous cycle of death, life, rebirth. That's what existence is. And nature mirrors that for us in every instance. I sat there with my wife, Sally, watching. To my left was one of the most famous crematoriums in the world. And it was very different from my background and culture as a Christian in Western US. But these bodies would be brought out on pallets with just a simple sheet over them and literally lit on fire for all of us to
The river?
witness,
Yeah.
right next to the river.
Okay.
And then only a couple hours later, the ashes of that body would be swept into the river. So death. Downstream, about 50 yards right in front of me, actually, where I was sitting, there were locals and pilgrims there being baptized, dunking themselves in the water, literally being reborn through the ashes of death. And then 50 yards down from there, further downriver to my right, there was one of the most simple tasks of every day that we all must deal with being done, which was the laundry. And as I sat there during the golden hour with my wife, the sun setting, we sat there for a couple hours. There was this instinctual like silence or reverence that came over us. And I was kind of remembering this cycle that we are all a part of, I believe, kind of forever. And this rebirth, we have an amazing opportunity to be reborn here with AI, to become something better, to see our reflection in the mirror, and to make better choices individually, and to reform our institutions around the reality of the modern world that we're living in, and focused on human flourishing for flourishing for more of us. So anyways, there's a little, like, that's kind of how the book kicks off. What's interesting, just to end, is the book ends, you may not, you sounds like you haven't gotten there yet, but the book ends in the Virgin River in Zion's National Park in southern Utah. So it starts on the Ganges and ends in the Virgin.
I think it's really insightful what you're doing, and I think your curiosity is really important. I believe in that. I think curiosity is important to us embrace. And as you're talking about the ashes, I'm sorry, going off the tangent here. My mother-in-law was a big sailor after she retired, and after she passed away, she wanted her ashes. She wanted to be cremated and spread her ashes in the Atlantic Ocean
Wow.
because that's what she wanted.
Yeah.
And she was one of those women who thought outside of the box. You know what I'm saying? She was born in I think it was before 1940. I don't know, but that's just, I like people who think outside the box, like what you're doing. I say outside the box because you thinking differently. That's
Well, I appreciate that. My kind of faith tradition, it was interesting. I've grown up Mormon, very conservative family, Christian values, and it's kind of nice to come out of the womb, have a nice tight little box with all the answers.
right.
Here's exactly who you are, exactly what you need to do, where you need to be, what you need to wear, blah, 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 blah. But I think in midlife, that box often kind of disappears and gives us space to lean into even further understanding. It's crazy and very interesting how easy, quote unquote, it is to program humans. Like, we are programmed. We're programming AI. We are programmed. And I think it's very critical for us to actually question our programming at some point in life. It's not bad per se. I mean,
Right.
we're helpless infants. Like, it starts from before we were born. It's like the air we breathe, we're programmed up. But it's good to take some time to meditate on those things, to think deeply about those things, and think what in our programming is serving us, what was true and good, and what wasn't. Because all of us have some baggage in our programming, some programs to drop that are old systems that must be dropped. And again, this is the process, I think, of gaining human wisdom, and it's critical in the age of highly intelligent machines that humans become more wise.
I like that. It's definitely, again, goes back to the outside, going outside the box and the curiosity. That's how we help us deal with the changes. And as you were talking, sorry, I always spoke up a lot as a kid. So I think, I don't know why, but I was polite about it, Jeff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
And
cool.
I remember coloring a cow. You're at the table when you have all these crayons, and I colored mine purple. And the teacher got on to me for that. And I said, why can't a cow be purple? Right. And I think really, Jeff, everybody else had the black and brown crayons. So I had just standing up for myself. But I think, I thought everybody told me my purple cow looked better. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I just realized I'm wearing purple. But
Yeah, you are.
but
That's
it's
good.
just something that I think we need to be kind, we need to be nice, we need to be ethical, but at the same time, and wise is really a critical thing in our world.
But
So
like you said, and I love it, if I could just double down on it real quick, we need pattern breakers. There's
yes,
a chapter called Anomalies in my in the transformation section, part 3 of my book. We need pattern breakers that go to the edges of our understanding and existence and help us know what is going on. We often call these people the black sheep, or the people that are doing things differently. They're painting, they're drawing the purple cow, not
yes,
not the brown one. those are people that we need to applaud. We need more pattern breakers in this on this journey that we're on together. We are all fellow travelers in existence, and it's often easy to criticize or to look down upon these pattern breakers, but it's these pattern breakers that help us transform and help us evolve. And again, it's critical in the age of AI to have wise pattern breakers, leaders of a new sort that I think are being raised up and prepared right now that can help lead us politically, lead religions, and of course, as CEOs of companies, especially tech companies that are working with AI.
I love that. It also made me think the pattern breakers is also opening up the door a little bit, or the window, and it just helping more light come in. I don't know why.
Amen.
It just made me think of that. Again, it goes back to the nature analogy, but that's something we just need to be aware of and just embrace. I know change is hard. It is hard for everybody. It's even been hard for me over
Yeah.
time. But like you did, like I think COVID era, I call it the COVID era now, it actually made us all, that was kind of a pattern breaker, really, for our culture.
It definitely was. In the book, I say that pattern breakers come in three forms: events, people, and another that events, people. I can't remember the third actually right now,
Okay.
but so like COVID is a perfect example of an event that totally disrupted what we were used to. You think of great spiritual teachers like Jesus and Buddha and, even the Dalai Lama, Mother Teresa, that have changed the way that we understand ourselves and have made a positive difference in our understanding of ourself, of reality, and of love, which I think is love is the answer. 99, I think I say in the book, 99.3% of the time, love is the answer. And it's something that we can lean into instead of our fear, which is easy to go to here in the age of AI.
Yeah.
We can lean into this love and we can lean into kind of the best of the opportunities that AI provides us. I think that AI provides humanity the opportunity for a massive system wide, I'm using a technical term, kind of system wide upgrade actually to our existence. And it offers the opportunity for more human flourishing even in the years to come. So,
I love that. As you mentioned, lean into love. I have a sign in my office. You can't see it, but it says, do all things with love. I have that because you just need to, as is a reminder, I think that's where my positive side wants to come out as a reminder, right? We need to have that. We need to, like you said, we do need pattern breakers. And not everybody is a pattern breaker. And guys, it's okay if you're not. We just
yeah,
need you just need to be open to learning about it.
yeah.
And I think your book is awesome. I love the title again. Is there just one takeaway for the listeners maybe that you want to, I guess it is wise that you're talking about. What is just one takeaway for them?
Yeah. Are you talking about the takeaway that I would most like someone to oh, well, let me just say this,
Yeah, whatever
and
you,
I'll try to cover some new ground here.
yeah,
This book is meant to be a conversation starter.
yes.
It's meant to start conversations in boardrooms, in government offices, but even maybe in mostly around the dinner table. What is AI? See, I think that AI will become, this is in the decades and years to come, will become so quote unquote human or conscious, people will feel like it's conscious, that it will help us question our very identity. Who am I? Why are we really here? These are the types of conversations that I'm trying to inspire and start with the last book written by a human. It's funny that I'm grateful you like the title. That title came to me a year or two ago when I was kind of halfway through writing the book. But for me, I think what it represents, it was, again, I'm 48 years old. It was kind of like, what would I want to know? Let's say that I was just plopped down on Earth August 2025. The book comes out August 19th. So let's say August 19th, 2025. What would I want to pick up and read to help me understand what in the world is going on here? Who am I? What is this existence made up of? And what is this technology that is disrupting so much of what is happening within the human experience? This is like the book that I would want to pick up. So that's where the title came from. That's where the book is written from. Like I said, it follows this technology growth cycle, which very interestingly, I think, mirrors our personal growth, spiritual journey that we're on, which is, in my opinion, the hero's journey, where there's a call to adventure,
Yeah.
Via disruption. There's usually a refusal of the call via reflection. And then we lean into that adventure and we transform. Transformation is the third section of the book. And lastly, we bring the wisdom back to the tribe, to the people, to humanity. That's what pattern breakers do. And that's where evolution begins. And that is the process that I think we are going through. It's a process I try to take through or take us through in this book. And I do it in a very personal way. As you've read, I share a lot about my life. I'm very transparent and authentic in the book. I hope that I felt like I had to do that in order for people to see their own stories and mine, to see their own pain, their own joy, and to ask themselves and to start conversations, like I said, what is really going on here? And how does AI play into this? Why do we feel so driven to build this, yet there's so much fear around it? I think there's a lot of interesting conversations to be had around those ideas. And I hope this book sparks that conversation for some of your listeners here today.
I love this. I'm definitely going to recommend it to other people just because it resonated with me, and I'm reading it slowly. I'm not just like sitting down, and that's why I haven't finished it yet, because I'm reading each chapter and I'm like, oh, and I'm thinking, I'm highlighting I have a physical book because that's just how Bridget's brain works. But some people might be reading it on an iPad or something. You can still highlight certain things or save it, but that's what it is. It's it's very thought-provoking.
Oh,
It's
good.
really what it is. It just makes you think. I love what you're doing, Jeff. We're
Thanks.
humanity in
I hope
the
so.
way you can, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely the way. This is kind of a transition, mid-career transition from like business guy and politician to kind of a hippie artist author guy that is doing all I can. There's nothing in this for me. Like there's no benefit to writing this book. It is all impact. I am focused on impact, and we're all trying to help each other. And so I'm just trying to do my little part to do what I can to serve humanity. So I really appreciate that you noticed that or felt that in the book. Thank you, Brigitte.
No, you're welcome. So where can people learn more about you, Jeff?
Yeah, I have a website, jeffburningham.com. Really easy. I'm also on most social medias at Jeff Burningham. And the book is for sale. I've pre-sold, over 10,000 copies. It comes out in a month or so. It's for sale on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, Walmart, Target, wherever you get your books. The last book written by a human, Becoming Wise in the Age of AI. I'd love for people to pick it up and then let me know your thoughts. Connect with me via my website or via social media. Let me know the good, bad, and the ugly. I'm not saying that I have all the answers. I'm not saying that I know everything, but I am trying to bring my life experience, which has been very varied and vast and interesting in a lot of ways, to this big problem. And so I'd love to hear people's comments about it. Happy to connect.
It definitely is thought-provoking, everybody. And he doesn't give opinions. He's telling you some stories and making you think.
Yeah, I hope so. And I hope it's easy to read, like you said. Those are two beautiful things. If it's easy to read and thought-provoking, like you're making me namaste, Bridget. Like thank you. Like that's what I was trying to do. Yeah.
I'm not BSing you, Jeff, because there's some books I read and I'm like, oh God, I can't even finish it. But yours, I'm consistently opening up every day and
Good.
reading 2 to 3 chapters. And
Oh,
it's just
good.
really, really nice. And I really appreciate your time. And for those that are listening, I'll include the links that Jeff mentioned in the description. And I hope you have a great, wonderful day. Go explore and use some wisdom, right?
That's right. Thanks, Bridget. It's great to be with you.
Thank you again.
Yeah.